Hello, I'm Frank Allocco here for another segment of Ask the AD with Scott Sidwell. Scott, it's been a hectic week. We had the Arizona State postponement, had to move our game against Brooklyn, LIU Brooklyn, down to Cal State University, Monterey Bay. Can you walk us through the decision-making process and what you had to do to implement to make those games occur?
Well, first things is it was quite a hectic week for people in the Bay Area. There's a lot of people that have been adversely affected. Very tragic situation up in Butte County. So I think, the first things first is that we, will always keep in mind in our thoughts and prayers those people who have gone through this tragedy. And then we got to, okay, now let's start talking about our games, And so how does that affect everybody? Basically, what we were constantly on emergency calls with folks with the university, constantly monitoring the air quality, and then to get into game operations, start talking to teams. And so it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of phone calls, a lot of conversations, but ultimately we ended up with a postponement of a game against Arizona State. And then we moved both our women's and men's basketball games down to the Kelp Bed down at Cal State Monterey Bay. And so we were excited about the opportunity to play those games yesterday. Got 2 wins, and so it worked out really well for us.
Great doubleheader win yesterday by both teams there. Both teams are playing outstanding basketball. I know I've enjoyed watching them play. Both teams are very together. They're very focused, very talented teams. Can you speak to the level of play that they're playing now and what expectations are reasonable for these teams?
Well, I think for both teams, they're very exciting to watch. It's a good brand of basketball on both teams. And I think for us, as we look at our schedule moving forward, I think you're going to start to see excitement building. You're going to start to see people start to come and see these two teams. They're drastically different in how they're made up. I mean, you're talking about a very veteran, senior laden team for the men's basketball team. And then you've got a bunch of young, ladies that have come to us from all over the world to represent us here at USF and women's basketball. But the outcomes have been great, and we're excited about where both programs are headed, and we ask people to come out and support both teams.
Fantastic article this week on Nerd Ball, talking about our program, the analytics Coach Smith has with his staff, and the buy-in of our players into the analytics and make them successful. Can you speak a little bit to Nerd Ball?
Well, it's a very systems approach, right? So everything that happens on a day-to-day basis in practice, there's 50+ odd, measurements that they take with every movement that they have. Everything's videoed. We go through that with our coaching staff. They give a grade to it, and then ultimately it comes out with a score for each member of the team. And then those scores are put together with the different makeup of what's going to be on the court at a given time. And then you analyze that, based upon points that you're giving up and what you're scoring and all the different factors that go into it. So it's very heavy analytics driven. And we think it's great. The first time Coach Smith and I got together to talk about, his system, he walked me through it at a very high level, and was very intrigued then and continue to be intrigued. And obviously the outcomes have been wonderful.
The preseason has been very favorable for the WCC. We have 6 teams ranked in the top 150 in the KenPom rankings. How does that look for the rest of the year for our conference?
Well, there's been a big emphasis over the last few years that teams needed to get better in basketball, and I think we're starting to see the evidence of that here in the non-conference. We've had teams get off to undefeated starts, and we're something like 30-10, I think, in the first few weeks of the season here, and that ranks us very high. The more you win, obviously, the better it is for the league as a whole. If we can all get through the non-conference schedule and everyone is coming out with a winning percentage, that makes good for when we get into conference, because you start kind of beating each other up. Every time someone wins, someone's losing on the other end. So the higher you go in, the better you are overall. And as we look towards March and the selections, and WCC for sure is a multi-bid league. I've always thought that it should be 2, and now we think it should be 3+. So we're excited about that, and we look to be one of those teams at the end of the year.
Let's talk a little bit about the women's team. They're fun to watch. They have 9 international players, 8 true freshmen. Coach Goodenbauer and her staff have done a great job of recruiting the whole world to bring them all here together, and I watched them gel. Talk to us a little bit about the great job Molly's done recruiting and putting together a team of young players with international experience.
I think the international experience is something that we take for granted. I mean, I see these young ladies come here, and they do have some more maturity experience, right from the start, based upon the international play that they've been a part of. Many of them have been a part of international 18 and under teams and those types of things, representing their countries on the world stage, which in any way, shape, or form is a big deal. And so I think it's neat to see 9 different, young ladies come together from different countries, put together a new system. Molly's done a wonderful job building that with our group that's already returning for us, and it's exciting to see them. They're off to a 2-1 start, and they're playing well and they're tough. I just like the way they play. They really play hard all the time, and it's going to be fun to see how it unfolds for them as well.
With all the different metrics that the NCAA uses to measure teams, the neutral court component of it is kind of interesting. With that move of the game of LIU Brooklyn down to Monterey Bay, is that considered a neutral court game?
Yeah, based upon how we've interpreted what is a home game versus a neutral game versus a true road game, we consider that a neutral court. It just worked out that way. We obviously would have wanted to play at home. There are some benefits to playing in a neutral site that allow you to get a little bit more of a bump in the rankings and those types of things. And so we'll see how that officially plays out. We've submitted it as a neutral court game, and we think that that's what it will ultimately be based on how we've interpreted it.
Scott, we have a question from one of our fans via Twitter. Any idea how the Belfast Classic preliminary games and brackets will determine an overall champion in Ireland? There's 2 brackets, Samson and Goliath, and 2 total games for the Dons. Also, any more info on the Chase Center game next year? Possible opponents being kicked around?
So if you look at the Hall of Fame Classic in Belfast, which we're already playing, we won our first game on our side, yesterday, and we look to continue that this week. And so as you have 2 different tournament brackets that are going, they'll meet in Ireland, and I think you're guaranteed 2 games there, you're 2 games at home. For us, it's really about the next game that's in front of us, and we're really looking forward to the experience over in Northern Ireland, and everything we've seen online about the tournament, what we've heard about the tournament, it's wonderful, and so that's an exciting opportunity for our team. On the Chase Center, we've been working on this for quite some time. November 9th, 2019 is the date that we'll be tipping it off down there at the new Chase Center as the first college basketball game in the new arena. And we've been with a number of different opponents that we've been working to solidify. We're close on one from the Big 12 conference, so we think that that's going to come together for us and put that on paper and get it ready to go, and that's exciting for us. I can tell you, anytime you have a chance to put yourself on the big stage, no matter where that is, especially in this scenario, opening up what is going to be the best arena in the world, and right there looking over the bay, and it's our home, and it's San Francisco, and we're going to look at it as being a home for us for a long, long time.
Another question from a fan. Any determination yet on whether the game against Arizona State will be played at all this season?
Yeah, we look, our contract with Arizona State states that they are to return the game to us. It's under postponement. That's different than cancellation of the game. And so we're working closely with their athletic director, Ray Anderson. He's working with his team to try to identify opportunities. We have submitted a number of dates and scenarios at which we could play this game. And so now the ball literally is at court, and we're waiting for them to get back to us so that we can work this out. I have Ray's word and have a lot of respect for Ray. That we will get this worked out, and we want to settle it on the court. We think it's important, if to live up to your obligation. If you said you're going to come back and play, unfortunately, very tragic situation, as I mentioned earlier, about all the people that have lost lives and different things up in Butte County. So, decision was made to postpone it for a number of reasons. Now that that's going to be behind us, let's get back to playing on the court, and we can't wait to have Arizona State come play us.
Scott, I know this is a travel time with Thanksgiving and family. It's family time. I know for you, you have a son that won a championship this year at Trinity College. That was I'm sure you're pretty proud of him winning a football championship. And Maddie back in New York, and your family in Louisiana. I know you're traveling back to Ireland. Give me a little overview of what your next week and a half looks for with your holiday travel.
A lot of air miles this year with family all over. 2 kids in college, as Frank mentioned, in New York and in Hartford, and family back on the East Coast. But we're going to be traveling after the game. I'm going to be traveling after the game Wednesday night against Harvard here, catching that red eye. We'll be in Louisiana for some fried turkey and all the stuffings and everything that come with that on Thanksgiving Day, and then taking off Monday to meet up with everybody over in Belfast, and it's going to be a great trip, and then headed back and more basketball to play. So it's a busy time.
Well, I know my Thanksgiving is going to be a little quieter than yours, but my Christmas is going to be very exciting because I already got the ask in to Santa Claus for some fancy socks to improve my sock game and try to keep up with Coach Sidwell here.
You got to pick your game up a little bit, you know. So no, it's been a lot of fun. It's an exciting time. Look, we're off to a great start. The holidays are always fun. I was telling someone the other day, when you put the fall seasons to bed and you put them to rest, and then you get in where you just have your men's and women playing, and in the non-conference there's a lot of games in a short period of time, and then you get into that conference season where you're talking about Thursdays and Saturdays, and then you're looking forward to the conference tournament, and hey, it's a great time to be a part of it, I think, for everybody, and we want to wish everybody a great holiday season, and keep the folks that are dealing with these great tragedies in your prayers, and we'll continue to be thinking about them.
And thanks to all of you. Wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Keep the questions coming. Always great to be here with Scott Sidwell, and keep the questions coming to Ask the AD. Thank you very much. Go Dons.
Go Dons.